Alright folks, here we are at the end of American Turn 2. The Americans did try a little bit of a assault across the street here, or a repositioning here of Williams Squad. Alex, what happened up here?
Basically I had my guys come out of R2. What I was trying to do was get over to T2 and see what kind of opportunities fire I received. If it wasn't so bad, I was going to see if I could try and book it across the street, but we kind of got halted up in T2 when we took some fire, and unfortunately it was a really nasty.
Yeah, it was. I think I rolled like a natural 4. So when you add the 2 for the building, sometimes the enemy just gets lucky. And there was a casualty assessed in there, and then in his after-action phase, Williams was able to successfully dust off that casualty. So that's just going to be normal victory points and not double victory points. Speaking of which, M2, this is Ramirez's squad, did go into. He was an M2. Everybody in there was pinned down by the Little Bird strike earlier. Walked in there, took a prisoner. When you assault into a hex and anybody in that hex is pinned down, any pinned down units are immediately removed. They count as casualties. They're eliminated right off the bat. No roll. They don't count towards the total for the odds calculation. They're just eliminated. Here, there was only a half squad in the hex. Granted, they were carrying RPGs. So Ramirez's squad was able to take a prisoner, and Ramirez made the roll in the after-action phase to evacuate that prisoner. So that's going to be additional victory points for the American player at the end of the game. So now we go to the Somali turn 2. Alright, so the first thing that happens for the Somali player is everything is automatically rallied. We went ahead and reset all those counters to indicate that they're all no longer pinned down. And then we will go straight to the Somali fire phase. Now, I don't want to shoot everything, as tempting as that sounds, because some guys have to get the hell out of the street. Get out of the street, dude. Yeah, there's a 50 cal parked across the street. Ramirez has been in better moods. Yeah, there's a Little Bird flying around right now. It's time for everyone to get under cover. So I won't be firing everyone. Also, some of my guys don't have good line of sight. I'll start off with Mr. Majub. I'm going to take another poke here at this Humvee and see if I can cripple him. So it's 5 total points, minus 2 because he's my expert leader. Oof, not with an 8. Alright, so that 8 is read as... Actually, that was a 10, dude, sorry. So that 10 is read as an 8. Yeah, that's no effect.
No! They're shooting at us! They're shooting at us! We'll shoot back!
So he's fired. He will not be firing. He will not be firing. Good God, what happened to my army? It's already gone. Okay, these two guys are going to war fire some vengeance of the Almighty to my boy Erickson here. I am just tired of him and all of his nonsense. The good news is the first 2 points can be assessed against civilians. In fact, you know what? Let me not do that. What I might do instead is put fire into that hex and maybe even assault somebody if I get really lucky. Alright, so first of all, this -1 hex here is going to fire everything he's got. 11, 15, and another 5. That is 20 total points. I have a -1, however I have to add 2 to that die roll for your buildings. So that's going to be a total of, add 1 to the die roll. So that is read as an 8. 2 casualty points on Mr. Williams. I think Mr. Williams is zapped.
Yep.
Alright, cool. So we'll remove him and replace him with a casualty marker. That was that whole hex. Therefore, this guy might be assaulting someone. I'm going to have to take a bit of a circuitous route to avoid some of the opportunity fire. Alright, so that's going to be it for my fire phase. We then go to my movement phase, so keep an eye out for opportunity fire. This guy ducks back into this hex. This guy falls back into this building. Remember, M5 is a clear hex, so these 2 guys can see each other. But at least now I have some kind of cover. He cannot move because he just fired. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably the best place for it.
Yep.
Because once he gets into U2, Erickson's going to have to scrape, and the Humvee is going to... I think the Humvee may have already lost sight of him.
He didn't really have... Yeah.
I don't think he ever did have sight on him. Yeah, never mind. But Erickson, yeah, now is the best time for Erickson. Because I'm never going to be adjacent, so you'll never get to throw grenades. However, I'm now in the open, so that's a -1, plus Erickson's -1, makes a total of -2 bonus to you. 17 points with a -2. Roll well for Mr. Williams' sake.
Ooh, okay, a 4. Not 4.
Oh, 4 becomes a 2. So again, -2. That is 7 casualties. 2. Yeah, there's nothing I can save in there. Snack is toast! That's how it's done! Fire. Oh, I never fired my douche gun. That's okay, I was going to do something else with my douche gun.
But he didn't have line of sight on T3 anyways.
That's also true, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and park in these trees. S5 is technically clear. Yeah, so he's basically gonna. I want to fire up this truck, or if I can't hit the truck, I want to put fire on this casualty box. All right, that's going to be it for my movement phase. We then go to your defensive fire phase. Now's when that Humvee finally gets to shoot.
Yeah, he's gonna do just that too.
All right, so 6 points. You have to add 2 to the die roll for my buildings.
Which Humvee are we talking about first?
This one up here.
Okay, yeah. He's going to add 2 for the buildings. Let's see. 5 becomes a 7.
5 becomes a 7 on 6 points. That's 1 casualty. Okay, over here to Ramirez's hex. He's got at least 1 target.
Yeah, he's gonna shoot directly south into M6.
Okay, net add 1 to the die roll, plus 2 for my buildings, but -1 for Ramirez. Yeah, again with 17, add 1 to the die roll.
He rolled a 10 net, so nothing.
Okay, yeah, he missed for a change. Mr. Humvee.
And he's going to fire. This is a kind of a long shot, but it looks like it's legal. Hear me out. He's going to take a shot down at that the other technical with his weapon.
It's totally legal, yeah. Because again, S5 is a clear hex. It's a bad roll because you're crossing technically 2 walls there. We'll count it as 1 wall because that's cheesy. So that's 1 wall there. He shoots over that corner, and then he's got to shoot into my trees. Actually, he's got to shoot over this wall too. We said this was a parking lot. So 1 wall there, 2 walls there, and then into my trees. He has to add 4 to the roll, but it is technically legal. Now, you can use the anti-tank rules. So we said that was an 8 or less.
Becomes 4 or less.
Yeah, technically you could do it, but you have to roll 4 or less on 2d6.
Well, I feel like this is better served than trying to take a shot at some infantry, so
Yeah.
he threats my helicopter.
So yeah, 4 or less on 2d6.
I'm going to have to take a screenshot of this for you.
Oh, okay. I believe you. Trust me. I rolled snake eyes on that assault. So yeah. So you scored a hit.
Yep.
Awesome. And again, that was an anti-tank weapon technically because we're using the A-class military condition value. Okay, so that was cool for that. Anything else for your defensive fire phase?
I will. The other Humvee is going to take a shot into the building directly ahead of him, the one in the parking lot.
6, add 2 to the die roll.
8 becomes a 10.
Yeah, no real effect there.
Yeah.
You used up all that luck on that Andy Oakley shot there with that 50 cal. That's pretty awesome. All right, so unless technically the little bird can't really see too much, because again, he's at low altitude. Yeah, so the little bird can't see anything enemy at the moment until he either changes altitude or he moves. Okay, so yeah, we're looking here at the last opportunity fires, defensive fires. It doesn't look like anybody else has line of sight. We've checked the little bird. We've checked the crew chief that's with the downed Black Hawk. Yeah, okay, that's going to wrap things up for defensive fire. And then advance and assault phase for the Somalis. I'm not really going to do any. That's going to wrap things up for Somali turn 2. All right, guys, partway through turn 3 for the Americans, and the Somalis are really running out of guys here. There's no way this is going all the way to turn 6. Meanwhile, Mr. Ramirez has just been blasting away at this hex, not hitting squat. And then what happened here, Alex, with your trick shot 50 cal gunner?
Yeah, he just turned and took 1 shot at it and got on his dice roll. So
yeah, there was a half squad in there, yeah, blew that half squad right out of there and pinned down the leader. This is after Ramirez has pretty much put probably half his magazines into that hex, along with, 8 of his buddies there. Yeah, sometimes just guys get lucky. I'm picturing this guy just kind of yelling up in the window like, "Hey Ramirez, you need some help?" And like not even looking at the hex, he just like one hands with the maw deuce on the pencil mount and blows away everybody in the hex. This is after he, good grief, man. This was a +4 penalty shot he took earlier. So yeah, this guy is killing it, man. What's he been drinking? So now we're in the American movement phase. We do have an exception in Valor Victory. Modern expansion, helicopters are allowed to move and shoot in the same turn, unlike pretty much everybody else. So yeah, this SAR bird is not here yet. We just kind of pre-staged him. He is carrying a medic team. So for now, did you want to bring in the SAR bird first, or do you want to move your gunship? Your gunship has fired his rockets. He still has his chain guns.
Right. So I did have one question before we move forward. Can he move into high altitude?
Yes.
Like now? But
if he's going to change altitude, it has to be now.
Right. So he's going to change altitude and then move into P6, which I know is going to expose him slightly, but I do believe he might be moving out of range.
Okay, so the way line of sight works, everybody, when you're in high altitude, is pretty much terrain doesn't matter. You're flying way over the city. The only exception to that is enemies can see you and you can see them if there is not intervening terrain immediately in front of them. Now, who can see that helicopter? First of all, these guys can totally see them because there's no intervening terrain immediately in front of the ground elevation hex. Problem is they're out of range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I technically have a PKM, one weapon with a range of 7, but it's not worth it. I cannot see him. He cannot see me because there's intervening terrain immediately in front of the ground elevation hex. You can see this guy, who I'm assuming that's who you're shooting at.
Actually, I'm going to spin him around in the air. I'm at the guys in V3, and he's going to dump his 12 points right into that hex.
Okay, so again, he did fire off his 20 points in rockets last turn. However, so that's kind of gone. However, he does have his 12-point, chain guns and miniguns and stuff like that that he can fire into that hex. So it's going to be 12 points. That puts you on the gray row. You do have to add 2 to the die roll because I am inside a concrete building.
I rolled a 5, becomes a 7.
That is 2 casualty points. I don't want to pin everybody down, so I pin everybody down, you're just going to assault me. So that hex has been thinned down a little bit. Alright, and now it's time to bring in your SAR bird, unless you wanted to. Because you fired him, you fired that hex. There's badass Mr. 50 cal trick shot guy. Okay, cool. And this guy did fire, and now this helicopter gunship is fired. Alright, cool. So, yeah, now the SAR bird comes in. Both technicals are knocked down, so there are no Somali 50 cal stuff on the table. Both RPGs are accounted for. Just keep an eye out for ground fire. Ground fire is technically a threat, although not really.
Yeah, he's going to come in through the R row, and then he's just going to fly up through that same alley where the little bird's at. He's going to go at a low altitude.
Yep. So he's pretty much flying up the same street, flies over the burning tires. Okay, and then where does he wind up at?
He's going to go through the P row, just out of range of those guys in those buildings, and then up he's going to land on P3.
Okay, technically he's not allowed to land in P3. But again, special rules, little birds can land in any street hex. So P3 is technically a courtyard hex. He can land in either P4, Q4, Q2, any actual road hex. And again, you have to be within 2 hexes of the casualty. So I took that into account when I wrote the special rule.
Okay, well he'll end up in Q2. That's
okay.
A nice sheltered spot. I think he's fine.
Alright, so the little bird is down. Went through Q, went through P. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. So Q row, these guys can hit. O row, these guys can hit, which are a lot less of them, but again, there is a commander there with a -2. Anything with him becomes hella dangerous, because he is just a stone cold atrocity, that guy. But yeah, well chosen. P5, 4, 3, this is P row. just out of range of this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And out of range of this stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a nice little keyhole. You found it. And now he lands in Q2. All right. Awesome. And that's going to conclude your movement phase, or is there anyone else you're moving?
The medic in P2 is going to move through Q3, then R2, and then into S3, which will conclude his movement. I think he can only move 4.
So, yeah, clear hex counts as 1. 2, 3 buildings, 4. Movement rate in this game is always 4. It becomes 6 only when you have a leader with him. The medic's going by himself. Nevertheless, he makes it. And then I'm assuming he's going to go into that casualty hex during his advance and assault phase.
Correct.
All right, so then we go to my defensive fire phase. This won't take too long. I don't have a whole lot left. You know what? I'm going to knock down that Humvee. I swear to God, one of these days. Here comes 5 points, -2. I'm going to get a moral victory. That Humvee, you're out of here. 5 points, -2. My die roll because of Majub's leadership bonus. That 8 is read as a 6. At 5 points, that is 2 casualty points. So he's pinned for 1. That means that I do get to make a casualty check on him. His casualty rating is a 5. That's the number that is there in the lower corner. I have to beat that on a d6 to kill him. Until I can do 5 casualty points flat out, then he just blows up automatically. But I did not do 5, so I have to roll 4. So here comes the 6 on a d6. Nope. So the Humvee is only pinned down. We go to your advance and assault phase. So we'll start off with that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other advance and assault?
Does the medic from the SAR need to go into the casualty hex with the objective?
You don't have to, but it would help. Basically, at the end of your turn, you have to make a casualty evacuation check. He rolls on a 7 or less, because he has medical training, but he's not an actual medic. Medics evacuate casualties automatically.
Alright, then he's going to belly crawl into that.
Alright, so the little bird comes down. We get him on top so we see what's up. Little bird comes down, he's now landed. 2-man medical team. Tactical dashes into that Somali courtyard, and he's going to dust off that casualty during your after action phase. Which, it may not win the game, but it fulfills the mission requirements. Then it just comes down to points. Who wins or who loses. So, any other advance and assault?
Believe it or not, yes. Ramirez is going to go into L3.
Okay. L3 is still a building hex. I know some of these hexes it's hard to tell. For our video audience, you have to go by the dot that's in the center of the hex. So if the dot in the center of the hex is covered by the building graphic, it's considered a building hex. So he's trying to get a bead there on Mr. Majub. I see what he's doing there, but at the same time, he's also staying under cover. After action phase, evacuation. Automatically evacuates. Gets on the little bird, and he is now safe. Cool. Medic automatically evacuates that casualty. Now, I'm going to put this guy down here into victory conditions. This casualty marker I will not put in victory conditions, because it's not fair to charge you for the literal starting conditions of the game. You fulfilled the mission requirements. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that casualty point, but he does not count against your score. Or, more to the point, he doesn't count toward my score. And I think that's it. You have no one to rally, no more casualties on the board, no bleed-out checks. That's going to wrap up American Turn 3. Alright guys, so we're probably just going to go ahead and play through the rest of the game, and then record one more segment, because again, now we have mission requirements successfully fulfilled. So there's no question about whether or not the Americans are going to fail on mission. It's just going to come down to whether or not they fail on points. Normally I would say no. I haven't done the math yet in my head, because I don't have that many brain cells left. However, with that one assault into Mike M3, that was expensive. The Somalis may squeak out, if not a victory, at least a draw, just based on that one stack over there at Mike 3. It also depends on how many Somalis he kills. So, to be fair, the Somalis are going to start retreating, because if anything, they just want to now stop taking casualty points. So, like I said, we'll probably come back one more time at the end of the game, and yeah, let everyone know how it turned out. Alright guys, we have moved the clock forward a little bit. We're now halfway through turn 4. We finally had some civilian movement. For a while, those guys were just not moving anywhere, but they're moving around now. Not that it really matters, because the battle is starting to wrap up a little bit. So, like I was saying before, the Somalis are kind of pulling out as best they can. They can't leave the table, then they would be considered, per Valor Victory rules, destroyed units. And that's exactly what I'm trying to avoid. But at least try and make it a little difficult for the Americans to get a hold of me and rack up their score. I don't even know if I have a lead, but whatever score I do have, if I can maintain that as long as I can. So the idea is to keep my casualties down at this point, because in a gun battle against Rangers, they outnumber me now, and they're also elite, and they also have American weapons, and they also. So for me to actually stand toe-to-toe with the Rangers at this point is just absurd. It's time to do what insurgents do best, which is run away. Unfortunately, even more than firepower, the huge advantage that First World forces have versus insurgents is mobility. I.e., you can't run away. What did you say during the turn? You can't run away from a little bird? Was it the little bird or was it the Humvee that actually scored some casualties there?
It was actually the little bird.
Oh, it was the little bird, okay. So the Humvee came around here, took a shot, the little bird took a shot. Somebody hit and somebody missed, which was which. Meanwhile, I did knock down the medic that saved Williams, and the medic himself got knocked down. Now another medic is on his way in there. Where I did kind of screw up, though, here was when he moved his Humvees next to my leader, Majub. Technically, there is, I know it doesn't look like it, but technically there is a line of sight between these two hexes, because India 4 is not a building hex. Again, that dot in the center shows that it's a clear hex. So there is scraping fire to shoot past Juliet 3. -2 leader, I'd had a decent shot, I missed, forgetting, oh god, there's a whole stack of Rangers, like 4 hexes away from me. Not even 3 hexes away from me. 1, 2, 3, and I've already used my opportunity fire. In other words, I just gave them a free assault. So we've completed American fire phase, we've completed American movement phase, defensive fire phase, and now we're into the assault phase. Alright, Ramirez, here's your time to shine. You got your 17 again. Fortunately for me, I have 9, which still gives me the world's cheesiest 1-to-1. I can only throw in 3 grenades. You can only throw in 3 grenades. Holy crap, I might actually win this assault. You can only throw in 2 grenades. You only have 2 grenades left. Ooh, shit, I may actually win this. So I can throw in 3 grenades. He can only throw in 2 grenades. And I'm a -2 leader. You're only a -1 leader. I think I might actually win this. Do you want to call off the assault?
I actually do.
You have chosen wisely.
This is
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart now. I think you have to roll like a 4 or less.
the building like outside of Billy Kid going, hey, come out with your hands up.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not coming out. I'm going to go down swinging. Yeah, you probably would. The problem is it's technically a 1-to-1, which is really ugly math, but that's how the rule is written. 1-to-1, I have a +1 bonus because of grenades. I have a +1 bonus because of leadership. Yeah, you have to roll a 4 or less on 2d6 to pull that off. And even if you do, you're still taking 5 casualty points. Alright guys, so yeah, sorry for the anticlimactic advance and assault phase there, but it would really be silly for him to do that assault. He would literally be throwing the game away there. So he is committed to that move. He put his units there in that hex, but he doesn't have to do the assault. Meanwhile, other advance and assault news. Advance into this hex, I'm assuming, and evacuate that casualty.
Yep. And then Ericsson's going to move into V4 just to kind of flush these guys out. Sorry, I said V4.
Oh, no worries. Put him in V3. Yeah, that way if he gets cute and tries to flank you, at least the little bird and the Humvee are covering you in the south. And if he tries to flank you to the north, well, that's just glorious, because then he's in the open. Alright guys, we'll be back with probably the resolution of the game. Okay folks, here we are at the end of turn 4. There isn't going to be a turn 5 or 6 because the Somalis are now tabled. There is not a single Somali unit or vehicle left on the table. They are gone. They're a memory, they're a ghost. So I did manage to pin down my last little stand here. I did manage to pin somebody down. However, 50 cal from the left side, 50 cal from the right side. This one got lucky and actually pinned somebody down. Then point blank fire from Ericsson into my building hex, using up his last 2 grenades to give him a bonus, and then he rolled well on that. That's the end of our boy and all of his little militia that were in that hex, Mr. Mohamed. Over here, it was kind of similar. The Little Bird and the Humvee, again, I think it was the Little Bird who actually did some damage. Not surprising, the Little Bird doesn't have to pay for shooting over walls because he's a helicopter. And he's a more powerful attack. As opposed to the Humvee, which is not only a less powerful attack, but because he's on the ground, he's also shooting over this wall for an additional +1 penalty. So, long story short, the Little Bird was much more effective. Pinned down some guys, direct fire from Erickson after I pinned down some more people. I couldn't kill anybody, I could just, pin down some people. Which means Erickson was able to counterfire into that hex. And yeah, that was the end of him. So finish it the old school way, literal, like, Middle East Africa door kicking into the building, Little Birds blasting in the side windows, Humvees pouring fire from the courtyard, and then, yeah, grenades and assault rifles through the door. So that was that. Then we went ahead and we assessed the score. Assessing the score was easy for the Somalis. All we had to do was add up all the points they started with, and that was the total number of kills. There was one slight detail in the math. One of those casualties was a prisoner. So there are 25 total points if you add everything up here. Again, half squads count for double, and we're including the vehicles. So one of them was considered a prisoner, so we only counted it as 24 kills. And then that 25th kill was actually assessed at triple because it was a prisoner. Long story short, we wound up with 24 plus 3 is 27. The Americans, meanwhile, took 3 secured casualties at 3 points apiece, and 3 unsecured casualties at double that rate, 8 points apiece. In case you guys are faster at arithmetic than I am and you've gotten there ahead of me, we wound up with a dead tie, 27 points apiece. So, hey, good game, Alex. What else can I say?
Thank you.
So, what did you think?
I thought it was great. It's definitely one of those games, especially even more so than World War II, where paying attention to the fine details, it can make victory and valor swing one way or another very drastically. Like one hex could be the difference between losing or winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Valor Victory is one of those games that's deceptively nuanced. People look at the rulebook like, oh, this rulebook is only like 25 pages. Oh, look at these counters, aren't they adorable? However, it's more complicated than it looks.
Yeah, I would say this is advanced squad leader for people who have jobs in life.
People who have jobs, a life, families who want to play other games, people who want to paint miniatures, people who do other stuff. So I think that's going to wrap us up for today, folks. Thanks very much, everyone, for all your support. Thanks very much, Alex, for helping us out. Definitely appreciate you taking the time to game with us.
Anytime.
But for now, this is Oriskany Jim. Take it easy, everybody. And Tango Mike for listening, and we'll be in touch very soon.